Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from bed for a couple of reasons. One is that it's Saturday and I can. But really, I'm coming to you, and this is part of what I want to share in today's report because I'm sick. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how there are certain ways in which our body speaks to us. I think is not yet valued in society, and that can cause us a lot of pain and suffering. I know I feel that way right now, and I'll share with you my experience a little bit. So I haven't done a Rebel report in a couple of days because, as you can hear, my voice is sort of here and also sort of not. And I'm in the middle of launching and enrolling my Embodied Teacher training. So as a way to honor my body, what I've been doing is really showing up for the commitments that I have made, interviews, podcasts, webinars, things like that. And the rest of the time, I stay quiet and I'm trying as much as I can to meditate and to listen to healing mantras that just personally soothe me. I have relatively swollen throat / maybe tonsils, not really sure. And a lot of, even though I'm not particularly congested, I seem to be releasing a lot out of my body. Now, here's what I want to share, and I'll presence too that as I'm about to share this, I keep thinking like, there's like the critic in my head that's like, is this why no one cares about why you're sick? But that's not really what I'm talking about, because if it was just that I was sick, I would just be sick and resting. But I actually think there's a really important message in the emotional pain that I'm going through as I go through this physical pain, and I'll share with you why that is. So some of you may know that, and because I had mentioned it a few times, that a few weeks ago I had gotten a really intense neck and throat spasm that started off with the same thing like this, where I felt aches and pains in my body, and then I thought I had like a virus, and but it became really clear within a couple of days that it wasn't really a virus, and it eventually, I felt a lot better when I went to a craniosacral / somatic experiencing session, which is really about calming down the nervous system and getting yourself out of fight or flight mode. And I didn't feel like I was in fight or flight mode, but it's amazing how much your nervous system can do things that you're just not even aware of. It could have been stuff that came up for me around safety from when I was a kid. It could have been so many things. Either way, my body responded well to it, and I got back to feeling great. And then I went through this short stint of a few days where I was getting a lot of downloads, and I thought, oh, okay. And I started the Rebel report, and I was thinking, oh, wow, this was like the contraction before the expansion of me starting to speak more. And I also started a 30-day challenge, a personal challenge for myself of singing a silly like 90s or 80s song, but really from my actual voice, because I had the story that I don't have a singing voice. And I wanted to start to change that because I'm such a believer in self-expression, and I've really gotten over my stuff around dancing. Now I want to get over my stories around singing. Anyways, I'm sharing all this because it's all throat chakra related. Also, there's been some really, the last few months, I've been having really difficult conversations that for my entire life I didn't want to have, that I'm having with family members, with men in my life, around my boundaries and about what's right and wrong for me. and about where I will not negotiate and where I will not step down. So the combination of all these things, it seems like there's a lot of things going on with my throat chakra. And my roommate also handed me Carolyn Miss's book. What is it called? Anatomy of Spirit. She was like, read the chapter on the throat chakra. So I did, and it's all about faith and surrendering to God's will and to the universe, and not resigning to it, but surrendering to it, which are two different things. And I feel like that's a whole separate conversation, because I really love that. But really what I want to talk about here, and what's been hurting me other than the physical pain, is that I've been, it's of such deep value for me to show up. Like when I commit to things, I really like to show up. But it's also a value of mine to honor my body. And I've been trying to find that. I'm dancing through the balance of the two of those. How can I still show up for my commitments, show up for my work that I'm so deeply passionate about, and also show up for my body, right? And I may not always get the answer right, but I'm doing the dance as best as I can. However, the part that's been really challenging for me is when I try to share with people what's going on, I've just been like, I'm sick, which is true. But they're like, oh, you have a virus. I'm like, I don't really know how to respond to that, because when I check in with myself, it feels like it really is emotional and energetic shifting. But how do you tell someone, oh yeah, other than maybe some of my close friends who get this, like, hey, I have an energetic flu or a spiritual flu. It's not really something that is taken seriously in the Western world. Now, if you go to many cultures, I know when I was living in Bali, when I was visiting Peru, and I'm sure it's similar in a lot of African cultures, they will say, oh, her heart is sick, or she's, healing ancestral stuff, or like there's really this, and it's said without a single doubt, without any cynicism. And yet here in the West, there is such a clear, like, ugh, that stuff is such bullshit. And let me be clear, I also believe, like, I might just have a virus. Like, I really don't know. My intuition says it's not the case. Now, I've taken my temperature. I'm doing all the things as well. Like, I have a clinic that I might go to on Monday if I've been monitoring whether or not anything's going on in my throat. I keep checking. At this point, it doesn't feel like I need to go to a doctor, because I've done it so many times, and I just end up spending money and like not really being told anything except take some Advil, drink water. Great. Good times. But I will go, and I'm not, I will not happily, but I will take antibiotics if I have a situation where that's required. Like, these are things I will do as a last minute resort. So I'm not anti going to the doctor or anti biomedicine in any sense. I just think that there are times when we have to listen to ourselves and check in, and I'm checking in every few hours to be like, what's really going on? And to me, it feels like there's no way that all of these things are coincidences, that I am, talking more through the Rebelle Report, that I'm sharing so much of myself and my beliefs and the work that I do in the world, that I'm showing up more vulnerably by allowing myself to channel, that I am starting to sing, which is the most vulnerable thing ever for me. That I'm stepping up and saying no to people who want me to live life differently in my, in my family. So there's a lot that's going on, and I have to really just like trust that this is just part of my healing process. And so I just wanted to share this with you, because you might have a similar thing, and you might find yourself surrounded by a lot of people who are also like, sort of poo-pooing on your, like, oh, you have a spiritual flu, because sometimes there's even that part of me that is still going, like, get your ass up and do some shit, like, what is this? You're not, like, because I'm in this, like, limbo state, right? So I just want you to know that your pain is real, and you are worthy, and to just be patient with yourself, and that I love you.